once you have black unity and unison, there's like a distraction. Like they want you to hate yourself. What do you mean I can't date outside my race? What do you mean white people act like this? Mine don't. Oh yeah, but when we get mad, he calls me a nigga. I'm like, what? You don't see how that's not a safety issue? Oh no, it's he just gets mad. Why I can't date outside? It should be about love. The white people come in there. It should be about love. I'm like, okay, so why is it not about love with your people? Why are you seeming like you're the odd one out talking about something it should be about love? Why don't your other, people, your family members act like that? Why is it only you? And then anytime when we say this is a black space that we hold in, we don't need any, outside opinion because we're trying to rebuild ourselves. We're trying to remember who we are. And they sit up there and spam and no, you guys should focus. That's racist. How is it racist? Because I'm embracing my culture. When y'all sit up there, Asian culture, they talk about themselves, it's embraced. Jewish people, it's embraced. Everybody else's culture is embraced. As soon as you say, okay, who are we as black people? Whether you want to call yourself an FBA or more Hebrew Israelites or whatever, like let's get into the culture. That's when they get so mad. And we say we shouldn't date outside the race. And I'm like, but you read the Bible. The Bible explicitly says it's a sin to go into the Gentiles and stuff like that. You would know that if you research. And of course, that's what you go against. Because once you start bringing up history and you bring up certain things, you can play the statistic game. They start shutting down and you're not listening. I'm going to pray Jesus away. And I was like, man, it's so much. They want to continue to be at their lower self. They don't want to gain any consciousness of themselves. And the fact that you want to humble or degrade and talk about and criticize a person that is actually trying to raise their consciousness, you want to blemish that and say we should continue to be with the oppressor when there's historical context of why we shouldn't be with them at a time and time again. It just happened once with slavery. It happened time and time again. I'm thinking that's what it is. Maybe you can give your insight of like as soon as we talk about ourselves, they have a need, whether it's like a coon or a black person, they feel the need to diminish it and they want to stay, or it's a non-black trying to distract us. What's your thoughts on that?
The whole thing is with the coons, it's hatred of self. It's actually hatred of self, because they have idolized or their whole goal is to melt into the dominant white society, non-black society, that anything other than that is hatred of self. You understand that? It is intimidating to them. They built their whole essence of themselves to be part of the dominant society, And once we say, well, we're just going to separate ourselves out as black people and be black people, they're like, no, we can't be black people because I hate black people. I'd rather be not see color. And not see color means everybody's white. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole deal. You don't see color. That means I can't wear my African clothes because you don't see color. So what clothes do I wear? The universal clothes that's out there now from the dominant society. Everybody wears that suit and tie. Everybody. Look at the UN. All those countries have their own cultural garb, but they all wear that suit and tie. That suit and tie is not black. This is what the coons aspire to. They want to blend into that suit and tie, thinking that it is their salvation. So when we come up and say, we just want to be black, they're like, no, that's bad. That's bad. You can't do that. It's a form of intimidation. It's a self-hate thing. And the white supremacists, they're just there to keep themselves up top.
Yeah, the ones that they act like they're for love and it, oh, I have a black girlfriend and this is wrong and stuff like that. What would you say to them?
Oh, you have a black girlfriend?
Yeah, that's what they'll say, or black, or not a black girl. Yeah, I have a black girlfriend, or I have a white husband, or something like that.
So you're satisfied with diminishing that black person to your level, the non-black level. You're satisfied with that. You know, don't you want that black person to be the best or the most how you call it, the best version of themselves? The best version of themselves is outside of your scope. You see, so you're actually holding them down. You know, you're actually bringing them down to your level, where black people are supreme. Black people are divine. You're bringing them down to human, subhuman, actually.
Hmm.
So, are you satisfied with that? That's all right with you? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
We're one. We are one.
we are one. We are one. What? What is that one that we are? We are one. What? What black
Human.
people are so
That's
much
what
more.
they say.
That's the hump that black people have to get over. You know,
Hmm.
that's what Elijah Muhammad came to say. You are gods. You are make own a cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They can't grasp that. You know. Oh, that's racist. Why? Facts is facts. Oh, it's not a fact. Look how we are. Look at where we are. Look, we're doing this, we're doing that. And how did we do that? Why? We gave y'all non-blacks the world, and y'all messed it up totally in every which way. Now we're saying, okay, we can't be with your world no more. We want to build our own world back again, and you're against that. Everything about this world is bad. It's wrong. You know, energy causes pollution. You're eating, and plastic is all over all over the place, all over the oceans. You know, you can't even drive. Rubber tires cause pollution.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That stuff wears down. Where's all that rubber going? It's pollution. You know, so I mean, everything about this world, everything about your society is wrong because it's based on greed. People can't even have a place to live. People can't even, die, live out their old age. You send them away. You got orphans. You got homelessness. You got starvation, and you'll call this normal. I'll never forget when I started. I took economics classes in college, and they have a thing called full employment, right? Now, the definition of full employment has in it a certain amount of unemployment. So full employment is like anything over, say, I forgot the number, 12% unemployed. I'm like, what? What kind of system is that? If you have a system where, okay, everybody works and everybody gets paid and everybody lives off their pay, how can people not be working?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It is an oxymoron. Now, I get it. You know what I'm saying? There's people that's retired, they're not working, blah, blah, blah. You know, people that's too young to work, okay. But that percentage of unemployment is always has a percentage of people that are supposed to, that can work, but there's no jobs for them. That doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. You know, doesn't make any sense at all. You know, you voting for somebody to be the leader of your nation, and the vote is a popularity vote. It's not based on their ability to lead. It's not based on how smart they are. It's not based on the history of their. No, it's just a popularity contest. Whoever's the most popular. And now it's gone down to whoever has the most money. Now they elected this guy because he's the most popular amongst the dominant white society. All of them voted for him. All of them voted for him. You see what I'm saying? And that shows their mentality. They'd rather have this thing up in the office than have a black woman up there. You know, no matter what they say, oh, she's this, she's that. You know, she was still more suitable for the office, as they have put it, than this whatever it is they got up there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It really makes no sense. Nothing about it. You see, in Blackwood Science said democracy is one of the worst. It's like idiotic. It doesn't make no sense, because in our culture, well, we had the science of how you call it. Everybody's destiny was pre-programmed. Everybody's purpose. Everybody knew their purpose from the beginning and was groomed to that purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So leaders were born. They weren't elected. They weren't trained. They were trained to be leaders because they were naturally born to be that. You see what I'm saying? Leaders are born, not made. You see? And so did every other facet of our society. Every other thing. Everybody knew their purpose or gained their purpose. And their purpose was the fulfillment of everybody else's purpose. You see what I'm saying? You didn't. Your purpose wasn't for you to be, I am the best. No, your purpose was for you to do your function for the rest, so the rest of the community can function. You see?
Right.
But we don't do that. I mean, well, we did that, but this society doesn't do that. It's just idiotic. Everything about it is idiotic. Look at how we have to find our significant others. Just walking up to random people in bars. Oh, I like you. Can I buy you a drink? What's your number? What's your sign? Just walking. It's barbaric. Walking up to random, people and say, "Oh, let me." It's really barbaric. That's because we lost the science of soulmates, which they degenerated into arranged marriages. That came from the science of soulmates. You see, can you get the connection?
Yeah.
It came from the science of soulmates, but they perverted it. You see, non-black, as usual, perverted it. So now they arrange marriages for political reasons. But back in whatever day they was doing that, to combine kingdoms and this and that. You see what I'm saying? To gain power, to gain wealth. Oh, you marry into that family, and our families will be wealthy together. You see what I'm saying? They still do that to this day. Think them rich 1% and 10% allow their children to just marry anybody off the street? It don't happen like that. Hollywood makes you think it might happen like that. The rebel, I'm not going to marry who you want me to marry. I'm going to marry Tom that I met in the flower store. No, they don't do that. They marry to keep their system going, and that is one of the things that mixed marriages does to our elite, our wealthy, or people that have money. What mixed marriages does is keep the wealth in the non-black society. That's what it does. That's what it is. Any of those rich stars, football players, whoever. You got that judge. He's married to a white woman, a Supreme Court judge. He's married to a white woman. All these people, whatever money that they have does not go back to the black community. It goes back to the non-black community. You see what I'm saying? So that's a way of keeping their money to themselves. You see? You're trapped into making that money, following their rules, following their playing their games, and you're trapped. You have to turn away from all your blackness to keep that money going. Look what they did to Colin Kaepernick. He stood up and they tore him right off. You know what I'm saying? That's what all those wealthy people in society are afraid of. Can't do nothing for black people.
I just wrote that down. No, because you understand, I've been in there for the past, of course I get my wisdom, but it's always nice to gain, we saying the same thing pretty much, but just to write it down to say, but yeah, definitely. All their money does not go back into us. The knowledge doesn't go back into us. They don't help us. It's just like you get that non-black girlfriend, non-black boyfriend, and you just attach to them. How come they don't never, conform to what we're doing to where we can start building up our nation again on our wealth? And why? We didn't seen it, the examples, Jim Crow, we had segregation, and then you see we were building something, doing something. So, it did take place to where they burnt them down, Rosewood, Green, what's the place called? Tulsa, Oklahoma, places up in Chicago, places all over where we had black towns and they built it, but that wasn't a call to, okay, let's integrate back. But so much that they didn't want us to go away from them. They started doing integration. Okay, let's come back. You had the Martin Luther Kings, of course, preaching his message for us to be, really in peace and unity with them and not just keep getting bombed in GTA. You got to say that. I learned that now. That's the term. You got to say stuff like in GTA or TikTok or something like that, so TikTok doesn't get mad and restrict the live. But yeah, doing so much harm and destruction. Of course, you don't want that for our people, but that wasn't a means to just stop our movement and what we're doing.